Hello everybody.
Hello,
Ciao.
hello everybody.
Welcome to this new live where we will answer some most frequently asked question about TheAnt, about anything. We listed a bit of them. If you have other question, feel free to ask, and we will gladly answer for what we know.
Yes.
Give us just 1 minute to say thanks to our sponsor,
Yeah.
PCB Way, that support us and
Support our project. That is very important for us because the hardware is expensive.
okay. And let's start from the first question, that is how to reduce the spindle noise of the ant machine.
Yeah. This is the first question. Is um,
A quite common.
a quite common, yes, a quite common question, and we can say first the primary source of noise of the ant is the spindle motor. Is quite simple to answer the question because the driver, if you use if you use okay, if you use something like silent driver, the driver part is quite silent itself. So how to reduce the noise about the spindle motor? Some people try to change the spindle itself, but we have tried some different spindle, and the noise is not ce ne so io poi is not very different between spindle motor. So our personal answer is to isolate the machine itself from the desk, maybe using some isolation material,
like foam, like
foam, yes. Like foam or something like that. The second way to reduce the noise is to use oil or ball bearing mineral oil to lubricate the spindle bearing and the spindle motor bearing and the spindle bearing on the chuck.
Okay. So summarizing, mineral oil, mechanical oil to lubricate the bearings, and that reduces the noise quite a bit. We experienced that. And isolation foam, something like a sponge, something to separate the table from the base of the machine, because the vibration of the machine is transmitted to the table or to whatever material it stays on, and so most of the noise is given by that, by these two sources.
In an older video, we have shown a box in plexiglass box, a plexiglass box that we use during the the intense milling operation. It's quite efficient. Talking about the noise attenuation. Okay.
It attenuates the noise, and we always place a foam in the base. Here there is the wood base. We always place a foam underneath, otherwise we have the same issues of transmission of the noise. And the other thing, it's good to have one plexiglass box like this to avoid the dust flying around and similar issues.
So
there is Bob that is saying, I will try mounting a Proxon micromot these days, micromotor. This tool runs with 20k RPM and it's really silent. Well, that's really interesting, and if you have some feedback, we would be very glad to hear it, and if you want to post a video on Reddit so that we can share with anyone, it's a really nice thing. And there is also, okay, let's say hi to other friends that have joined, Frank and Stars. Star says, okay, PCB is good for them to support us. Yes, we are glad of that.
Bob, I know that the spindle of Proxon from Proxon is very quiet and silent, because I have tested. I have an old MF70 that is a micro CNC machine by Proxon. So another question about
this Bob says, I will share on Reddit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Let's go to the second question, and it was like this. I'm not able to load the firmware, or when the firmware is loaded, I cannot connect to the board. Why is that? And okay, the 80% of the cases, more or less, most of the cases are due to the fact that the board that we use, that is a Nucleo board, has these push buttons here. And there is a user button for every user that is not used by our firmware, and a reset button. And what is happening most of the time, when you place a shield on top of the microcontroller board, the shield sometimes presses on these push buttons that are quite high. And so what we always suggest is to remove this little cap, and in this way the date is less than the pin, and you cannot touch in them, and have reset, spurious reset that are quite difficult to address. What else? Okay, the other thing is that we have our firmwares are always precompiled, and we have them on our repository, and you can download the precompiled firmware, and maybe I can show you. Give me a second.
Desktop noi. Desktop noi, e poi translate.
Give me a second, I will show you. Okay, these are the latest firmware that all the firmware version worth that you have for the Nucleo F401. You can simply download them. These are binaries, and if you have the driver of the Nucleo board, you can then simply copy paste them on the board. So and that's quite easy, and
yes, because the machine, the computer see the board like a USB disk. Okay, a mass storage.
Okay. And every time you there is a new firmware version, you make an update. Remember to check your machine parameters because the machine parameters are stored in the flash memory, and when you update, it could be that your parameters could be overwritten. So double check on that would be good. There is another comment. Solid rubber does not work really good
because short to ground proposed to use solid rubber, and Bob say that is not so efficient, but perhaps for us foam work very well. Something like no quite rigid foam. Okay. Deactivate. So. Okay. Next question.
Next question. Okay, this is my bit is not centered. Why is that? And now I can give you the. Okay.
So metti top noise slice. Okay, perfect. Okay, the centering of the bit is granted by the chuck itself, year 8 chuck, and the chuck is formed by the chuck itself, a spring that just a moment.
You need some tool to remove
the spring from the cup. The chuck itself, a spring, okay, like this one, okay, and the cup. So for an efficient and use of the AR8 chuck, the spring must be connected to the cup before inserting the bit, okay, and you can see that there is a connection that
it's quite tight. It's
yes.
You cannot
remove easily the spring itself from the cup.
By hand, you cannot.
Yeah. About the centering, if the spring is well machined, the centering is granted. Okay. So if you have some problem about centering, maybe the problem is the spring itself. Okay. We suggest to buy maybe two, not only one spring, but maybe 2 or 3 spring. That is quite cheap.
Should be quite cheap.
Yes, it should be quite cheap because maybe on AliExpress.
Maybe I can show.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. Okay.
So the R8 3 dot.
Yeah, it's $1. So if you take a couple of these and one is not well machined, yeah, the other should be. And yeah, so it's $1 more. But a bit of sure safety.
Yeah.
What else?
Another about the centering, maybe can be the issue on the centering can be made by the chuck bearing. You can check the pulley, the principal pulley, the chuck pulley, and if is
Loose.
loose.
If
Okay.
it's loose, you have to remove the chuck, no?
Yeah, maybe after several hours of machining, the pulley can
Move a bit.
move a bit. So you can tie it to the chuck.
You should tighten it,
Yeah.
the pulley to the chuck again. Okay. I think we answered that, and let's talk about the next question. That is, what is the ramping feature of the last firmware, and why did you introduce it?
Yeah, is for us is an important feature.
Is a really important feature. It's not so flashy. It's not so noticeable, but it's quite important for its effectiveness. Sorry.
Yeah.
And maybe we can make them hear the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Moment.
Okay. We try to go.
Connect the machine.
Okay, so you see here the connect to BCNC. Not anymore. Okay. Okay.
Command.
And let's start with S100 is okay, or I go to 1000.
1000.
1000. We we dare to. Okay. I go to 0.
Maybe people can see
The higher.
So
sorry. Sorry. It's the window is a bit too large. Yes.
it's okay. A bit.
Okay. Okay. Maybe here you can see that if I go with M3 S1000. And you can hear the different noise. Sorry. You can hear the different noise, and it's not going straight to the maximum speed, but it's ramping up. And what is the difference between the two behavior respect to before? That before it was going from 0 to 1000 straight on, so it was really how to say abrupt. It was 0 1000, and electrically what happened was that there was a difference in current that ESC had to supply that was quite abrupt, and it was from, for example, from 0 to some amperes in a really short time, and this causes spikes that could be, or the voltage drops that could affect the other electronics. Yeah. So this is not a flashy feature. You don't see any sparkling light, any difference in the final behavior of the machine, but in terms of machining. but you can see it electrically, because having a ramp makes these voltage drops disappear. So the electronics is a bit safer. And we tested, to catch it, we did a lot of tests with the scope, with the machine, without the machine, with just the board. And in the end, we introduced this ramping feature.
Yes, because we have burned out a lot of board, nuclear board. So it's quite important to decrease the speed very slowly, very soft, because the critical issue, the critical part is the ramping down. Okay. The ramping down, because there is like a brake system used by the ESC that push current on the supply line, okay, to brake to stop the motor. And this current can create very high over voltage
peaks. Some peaks
or
some drop. It depends on the direction of the.
If you want, if you don't want to buy a nuclear board on nuclear board, maybe you can try the new version of the firmware. We noticed that some people have trouble
with some ESC, particular ESC.
We are investigating
a bit with it takes a bit of investigation to solve all the issues. We tested it. You heard the ramp up, and for this feature, so if you have issues, we have introduced a parameter. There is a parameter that regulates how this feature is activated. It is $44. $44. If it's 0, practically you don't have any ramp up. It's like before. Otherwise, if you have a positive number that is measured than 0 and less than 100, you are introducing a ramp of 1000 milliseconds for each step that you add. For example, if you say 10 steps, you are adding 1 second to the off ramp. So if to go from 0 or to 1000, you will ramp up. There is always Bob says, okay,
suggest to use 2 PSU to supply
the stepper motor
and the spindle. Yeah, is a quite good solution.
But you need
to power supply or a circuit that derive the motor, the stepper motor supply in a very safe mode, safe manner.
Safe manner.
Yeah, with a lot of filter, a lot of active protection and so on.
Yes, because there is quite a good amount of current passing on, and yeah.
This is just a firmware modification, so it's quite
doesn't cost.
It's cheap. It's very cheap.
We always go a bit on that. And yeah, what else about it? Of course, if you have issues and you can describe them with this feature, let us know on Reddit so that we can reproduce the same issues.
we try to respond to all the question
with our
already.
time.
Yeah.
Because
But there
it's
are
always
a
that.
lot of people that is quite active on
And I know quite a
Reddit.
bit.
Yes. So post on Reddit.
About this, there were many times question asking if I want to use another ESC.
Yeah.
What should I change?
We have a section of a parameter list dedicated to the.
Yeah, we have in the firmware. We have a bit of parameters dedicated to the ESC.
Yeah.
And there are from $40 to $41, 42, 43, and practically they are the time. Every ESC has a period of time, is commanded in a period of time, and then you have some signal, some square wave that could be could have a minimum or a maximum time.
Yes,
in
PWM is a
PWM,
like a PWM signal. So have a
frequency.
a period. Okay, and T on minimum T on and maximum T on.
Yes.
So with these three parameters, you can use a lot of kind of the ESC. We try three types.
Yes, we tried the three types of ESC. And for every ESC, you should know the period and the minimum time and the maximum time. In the parameters, these values are expressed as microsecond, so that we can have quite a bit of granularity. And adjusting this parameter makes the ESC work properly, because the ESC has its own firmware that is calibrated on these parameters usually. So the main thing is that use the dollar parameter according to your ESC.
Which parameter?
40, 41, and 42 are the times. The 40 is the period of time in microsecond. 41 is the minimum time of the pulse wave, and the 42 is the maximum time.
This meaning that if we
give a spindle of 0, we have the minimum time
M3S0. M3S0.
M3S0, you have the minimum time over the period of time set. And if you give S1000, you have the maximum time.
Yeah.
So if you take a scope, you'll see the pulse with the maximum time in this case over the period that could be larger. And
yeah, because for our firmware M3S command are valid in range between 0 and 1000.
Yes, the other thing is that there are two concepts that are different. The S, that is the spindle speed, let's say, and the effective RPM are two separate concepts. From when we say S0 or S1000, we are talking about the command that then are mapped on the range of possible RPM. And so that are these times, minimum and maximum time. So there is actually there are actually two other parameters that are $30 and $31 that are the maximum of this value. The only thing is that now the maximum is fixed to 1000. Also, if you change that parameter, you will not see a change in the firmware because it's a little bug that is there, but doesn't affect much the behavior. And the other parameter that could be used and we use it is $44 that just tells to the machine to start when you start the with the minimum PWM.
Okay.
You because in this way you activate the ESC, because there are some ESC that needs to be activated with the minimum PWM. Otherwise, you don't have. You need to pass from the minimum PWM to activate them.
To activate the ESC.
And so.
If you have any question about the machining, the milling phase, or the other question about the PCB production at home, please make this in now.
Actually, there were many person online, but also face to face when we made some fairs that asked us after the prototyping of the PCB, what did we do to produce the boards, because usually we prototype with the machine, and then if we need the 3, 4, 5, we use a service that is also our sponsor, that is PCBWay, that is a professional company that produces our circuits.
Yes, we can say that about the quality of PCBWay. We have tried a lot of board with a lot of shape and parameters and different
colors.
We can say that it's a good quality. The price is very low, and the quality is good. Is good, very good. So if you want to transform your prototype like this small project made by TheAnt in a mini series of in a product, you can try to use PCBWay.
And the next question that is where do I find the new head? This seems like something trivial, but actually it's not. It's something that sometimes is okay.
When we talk about new head, we talk about the head made by made with an stepper motor that is the different from the original one.
Before we had this kind of motor. Also, if this is broken, but
okay. The first version of linear stepper motor that we use in the TheAnt machine is like that, like this motor. Is a small and compact linear stepper motor. It's quite
light and powerful. But
quite impossible to find on the internet. There is not a supplier. Yes. that can sell this this kind of motor. So we change the original design of the head in this
with this other motor that is an EMA 8, so it's more common. And I can show you the new files. Where do we find them? Sorry, in mechanics, in beta developments, NMA 8.8. So these are the STL file that you need to change these two files that you need to change to pass from the previous version to the new one. And there is the BOM addition difference respect to the previous
the BOM to that described to
how to pass a bit. Okay. Let's go to the next question if there are no. Okay, there is yeah. So
we know. Ever consider using a bigger stepper motor like
Did you ever consider using a bigger stepper motor like NEMA 11 or 14 and put it on the X carrier instead of the Z carrier? Okay.
Okay. There is no space to use a bigger motor on the head. Okay. All space occupied by the motor is space left to the
stolen
okay,
from the working area.
From the working area. So to maintain the compact design, we choose to use non standard stepper motor. Really, these are standard NEMA motor, but not so
not common. Not NEMA
so
70, for example.
Yeah. So these motor are quite expensive. We know that, but to reach the quality of the results, it's important to choose the right pieces, the right material. So stepper motor.
And there is also another thing. If we used a bigger motor on the head, we would add a lot of weight, and that is an issue, because when you add weight to the moving part, you are adding inertia. And adding inertia is makes you do more error during the movements. You have more vibration and potentially more errors and
more inertia, lower speed. So
slower speed.
Yeah, more inertia to have the same quality. More inertia, slower speed. We know that there are a lot of revisited design of our machine, and we are
glad of that.
Very glad. We like that. There are some version that use NEMA 17. NEMA 17 to the Y and X and that yes movements. And but we can. I don't remember a solution that implement different z-axis that worked very well, because it's important to say that we to remove just the copper on the PCB board, just the copper, and to not ruin the bit itself.
We are milling at a depth that
yes.
is 7 hundredths of millimeter depth.
Yes.
Deep, so it's really small.
And the repeatability of the Z movement is very important to
achieve
the
quality, because it's
on the wall work.
The copper itself is 35 micron, 0.035.
Yes, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Post on Reddit your solution, because people ask her to have a bomb, a chip bomb,
yes.
A chip bomb. So using NEMA 14 motor, the price of the machine could lower. Yeah. So if you have a solution, please share with the community this solution.
And also just to remember the history of the thing. When we started the project, this motor was sold everywhere. Was quite common
for a few bucks.
For a few bucks.
$4 or $5 for a motor. So yeah.
Okay. There was I read something like how many times took to make this design. I would answer quite a lot. How long did it take for you to design the machine?
Yeah, the frame part of the machine. So the frame part, the main structural part of the machine is the same that the second release is unchanged.
The structure is unchanged, but most of the engineering is in the head.
Yeah.
In general, the first version took a couple of years, 2-3 years.
3 years ago. The first version of the machine is 3 years ago, but the head, the functional and repeat high quality head. We have a quality head just from the second version of the machine.
We were satisfied just after the second version of the machine. The first was an attempt with some hint, but some issues, and the second was more successful. Okay. You should add Amazon affiliate links for those who don't want to wait weeks for delivery. Yes, I don't know. It's the how to say, the main part is that most of the things we do it on our spare time. So I don't know if that was the observation, but we don't have time to manage the supplying or logistic and stuff like that. Otherwise we would not be able to live a bit, but also to develop. The important part is that for something we are still developing. We reached a result that satisfies us for the quality and the reproducibility, but we are still developing. We are still finding something, thinking about alternatives of various parts.
Maybe to reduce the number of parts, the number of parts in general.
But the fact is that if we shifted our focus from the design to the to other aspects, we would lose a lot of time and we would lose a lot of mental health, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the reasons why we don't make a video every week, because we do a bit of video, we want to share a bit, but we also are focused on this project and also other small project, other ideas that are worth, we think are worth developing.
For example, we now developing we are developing a software from scratch in Python to
ease the workflow of because we place ourselves in our shoes, and our user experience tells that one of the most time-consuming part, one of the most time-consuming part is to pass from the design to the milling.
Yeah.
Once you have the machine and the machine is working, you spend the user spends a lot of time to pass from the design, from the files to the milling, and we wanted to ease a bit this. We had this in time for a lot of time, and we want to ease the workflow. We are glad for the software. We appreciate them, are open source.
BCNC and Flatcam, we use
with them a lot.
And every day. Every day. And
sometimes someone asks if we have an idea, either edge planned or laser pass dispense. We have something planned, but we don't want to say anything up front, because we always have this kind of take a look at feasibility, be sure of the feasibility, and then start to share with everyone.
Yeah, we have a lot of idea in the field of
electronics.
Yes, of electronics, but we share only the ideas that we can try. Maybe in the feasibility part, but we can share just the good idea that can work.
Yeah. And yes, there is
the kit.
The recurrent question. The answer was given before. That is that most of the answer is the time, because we cannot start by ourselves.
We can manage
we cannot manage that part, and if you follow a bit our history, we tried to partner with some entity person companies to have them doing the logistic part, and up to now we didn't succeed, so the answer for now, we don't have that kind of plan.
Maybe we in the future talk about something that maybe
yes, don't we don't promise anything
in the future.
And so what else? Okay. There was another question, quite frequent. It was about the rods. Okay, we can show on on the machine.
About the horizontal rods and the vertical z-axis rod that are here.
Yes, these chromated rods are yes, are shipped, are sold in standard measures.
Yeah.
Okay.
How to put in place them. Okay, them. For the vertical rods, we suggest to
leave the exceeding protruding part of the
rod, on the top of the head. Okay. To maximize the clearance between the head and the PCB board. Okay. Instead, for the horizontal is quite
it's quite easy. You just have to have them pass. You have to take rods. You have to buy rods that are long enough for the large for the x-axis.
Yes, 20
length,
centimeter.
20 centimeter in our case. And they can protrude from one of the two sides of both.
It's not very important.
It's not very important.
Yeah.
While the z-axis part, it is.
It's quite.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is another question that another discussion question that we found was about mineral oil, and
okay, about mineral oil. Mineral oil can have two
effects.
One, to protect the bit, okay, during the elaboration, the milling phase, and to avoid that the polvere, that
dust flying around
and on the air. So there is some accortezze
there is some something you have to take care.
You have using a mineral oil. Yes, mineral oil. We talk about mineral oil on the PCB during the milling phase. Okay, to lubricate the bit and to avoid the dust flying around. We try the mineral oil with good result, very good result. The trace was
more neat. The traces were more neat.
The bit
wasn't consumed as much as when you mill without the mineral oil.
Yeah. But
there are some drawbacks if you don't use it correctly.
Yes. First of all, don't use mineral oil when the drilling phase was previous done.
Because you have drilled some holes in the board, in the board, and then if you use mineral oil there, the mineral oil is peeling down. And if you're using, for example,
FR2 boards, mineral oils
can be absorbed by
the board itself.
Yes, but the electric part that is in between, because FR2 is made with paper and some resins.
Yeah. And if you use FR4 or something else, the problem is that the oil can reach the MDF table.
Can show the
can reach MDF table. You can see
a bit of oil
a bit of oil here, and when the oil is too much, the MDF can lose the compactness and expand itself. Okay.
And the surface would be much irregular.
Yeah.
There is Bob says I made my Y carrier thicker to add more stiffness.
Yeah.
The rod. Yeah. That's a good modification.
Yeah. It's important modification if you want to enlarge the working area, because the rigidity of this block is made by the chrome rods.
You say the main part that guarantees the stiffness, the rigidity, is the chromated bar.
Yeah, the chromated bar. So if you want to make the amp bigger, you must change almost the diameter of this rod using 8 millimeter or 10 millimeter rods.
Okay. So about the oil spilling, if I want to change the MDF, so if I want to change the wooden part, this one, and is there a way to do it? Because every time you change that part, you have to use another MDF, another wood board, and drill
and mount the board locker on the MDF. So
that case you have to drill and be sure that you are drilling to aligned and well distanced all rows. So the rows should not be should be parallel and well distant.
Our idea is to provide a PDF with
guide, a PDF printable guide that you can place on the
MDF and make
and drill
the whole in a easy way.
Yes, it's something that we thought
maybe in the future we can provide the PDF.
Okay, about
benissimo.
So for everyone, we say Bob is saying that he uses 320 millimeter profiles, so he also changed to 10 millimeter rods. It's quite bulky. Okay. Let's there is the next question that many asked. It's at which speed you travel, the head travels, usually the maximum speed that you use, and at which depth do you usually mill? Okay,
this parameter is quite
a varying one, no?
Yes, a varying one, because depends on the construction of the machine. If you have a rigid, well done, well assembled machine, you can reach easily the 250, 300 millimeter per minute. Okay, in the milling phase. Okay, in the
traveling or milling?
No, in milling phase. It's quite it's quite una cosa bella da vedere.
It's a nice thing to see.
Yeah.
Quite For us that saw the first prototypes, we went much slower, and it was all machine time.
When we started with the project, the maximum speed that
we were able to achieve
is maybe 90
millimeter
per minute.
Milling, of course.
Milling, yeah. So now we can reach 250, 300 millimeter per minute. And we mill just 0.07 millimeter. So for us
it's a good result.
It's a good result.
Sometimes you can change maybe 1 cent below.
Yeah.
Just to make with some test with that changing. It depends also on the bit you're using.
Depends on the bit. Depends on the quality of the auto bed leveling. Procedure, because sometime this feature on BCMC work without the correct precision. So maybe you can adjust. You should adjust the
depth of milling. Okay, and another question that was quite often asked is the machine scalable? Can you
Bob say that machine is scalable?
We believe Bob.
We believe in Bob. So yes, the project is scalable, but it's important to
with some care.
To change some parameters like the rods and the rods diameter and the motor
the torque of the motor.
Torque of the motor. So it's important to not redesign the project itself, but to change the critical part to have a good to have a good result.
So, and yeah, I think that that was the last one. Yes.
So
the last question. Yes, that was the last question that I found more often. We found more often.
Is about talking about the future of the project, the future of the TheAnt and so on. So
what are we doing? What are you doing?
The software, the primary project is the software. The software to
as we said, to speed up the workflow and
is to complete the experience of the ant, because now the machine is quite stable, like as a project. We continues to make adjustments, but the machine itself, the project itself, is quite stable for our
views.
Yes. So the next step is to provide a software capable to automate and automate all the process that carry the user from the CAD to the PCB, the finished PCB.
We are trying to give a path to this project and we are also starting to share the what we are doing to not be alone, to try to involve more people, so that our initial effort could be some way shared and improved, because we can know up to a thing, we can share our user experience and put that in service with a bit of programming, but in the end we are just a user, and there is a community of users of this machine, but also for the machine for milling PCB. And so we are trying to this development, and then reach a stable point and share with
the community
with you, and with also we hope some programmers that say, this could be made much better. You can do this, you can do that. Check this, check that.
We choose a language, a programming language that we think is very easy and very common. We choose Python to implement the whole software. So we hope some people that are enthusiasts, maker enthusiasts, and programmer that maybe have some experience in Python programming can help us to reach stability, a good
better results. And also the user, because the most people use one thing, the more they use one thing, the more they discover bugs or possible improvements. So we are sharing that, and also we are sharing a bit of, can I say that we are sharing a bit of live streaming on our Italian channel. So because in English it's a bit difficult, as you can observe. So we usually try to program and talk a bit of what we are doing when it's something worth following. And so if you want to follow us and to talk, chat, usually we do it in Italian, but if there is someone asking something in English, we can try.
We have an idea of the skeleton of the software and the feature that the software must have. Okay, this we have a vision about the usability the software, so we try to make it easy with maybe a small number of parameters settings
visible.
Yes, so less flexibility, but more effectiveness. We want to use this software in seconds to reach the results,
the goal. And yes, and also we have some other electronics projects that we are
we have an hardware related project that are some like the keyboard that is quite common
common thing that we do for doing a project, an electronic project, and also to always keep milling and testing the machine. I will show something
in
the future.
In the future, yes, this is the first
prototype.
The first prototype made by TheAnt and few hours of work. Why the keyboard? Because we need something to control OBS and some software that we use day by day. So
we'll tell this story better.
In the dedicated video.
And there is also something else going on that we are not talking about for any reason, but trust us that
Yeah, so
we are enthusiasts.
Yes.
We are happy about that.
About the idea.
About the idea.
And
then we hope that you will be like us.
Yeah. We hope that the carrier made his work and
brings us the
bring us the pieces as up. So
and I think that's it.
Yeah.
We say thanks to you. Thanks for your question, for your time, your observation, and we hope to see you soon. And ciao. Ciao a tutti, ciao ragazzi.
Alla prossima.